Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my Zerg video featuring all of the Heart of the Swarm updates related to the Zerg. I hope you guys have been able to check out my Terrans and Protoss ones as well already, and of course this is going to be featuring some of the classic StarCraft Brood War music as I've been doing for the other videos. Now let's go ahead and jump right into it. The very first unit that is now new in Heart of the Swarm is this flying thing called the Viper. And the Viper comes straight out of the lair. As soon as you have a lair ready, you can build a Viper. Now, the Overseer was removed from this current build that I played at Anaheim. And it was removed because you didn't really need a detector unit anymore, because the Viper has a spell that allows it to make any Zerg unit you have on the field a detector. And essentially, it's just a spell where it like spits out an eyeball and it lands it on like a unit's head. It can even spit it on itself or other Vipers or an Overlord, whatever you want actually. So that's its first ability. Essentially it is a spellcaster, by the way, guys. The second ability that the Viper has is the ability to actually hook something. And here's a screenshot of it actually in action. Here you guys see a couple of Vipers in the air, and it is currently latching that tentacle onto some siege tanks. Now, what that does, if you guys have ever played World of Warcraft and played the Death Knight, essentially it's a death grip. It allows you to latch onto a unit and yank it to where the Viper is. And if you think about that, that's really cool, because you'll be able to start yanking Colossus, you'll be able to start yanking siege tanks, ghosts, or other infestors. I don't think you can. You can actually yank a massive unit. Excuse me. So it's actually really good, because you can start to grip things and yank them and take them out of the equation when you have a battle with another player. So it's definitely a cool idea, a cool micro tactic that you can use. And of course, since it's a flying unit, it's very easy to micro around. Now, the third and final ability it has is, I don't remember the name of the spell. I'm just going to call it Reverse Dark Swarm, because a lot of people in the community have been calling it that. But essentially, it's like Dark Swarm from StarCraft Brood War, but it's actually a lot like Disruption Web as well. I guess this doesn't make any sense for all of you guys who may have never played Brood War, so I'll just explain it like this. What it does is it casts a small cloud on the ground, and it makes it so that anything that's in that cloud can only attack at melee range. So think about that. That is a huge benefit for Zerg players. That is going to help Zergs so much. And I can guarantee that this spell may end up getting changed at some point in the future, because it is so good. If you've got a bunch of Lings and Ultras and this new unit called the Swarm Host, which we'll talk about later, but if you've got a bunch of these melee units on the ground and you cast this Reverse Dark Swarm, this cloud, over Marines, Marauders, Stalkers, Immortals, you make it so that those Marines, Marauders, Stalkers, Immortals, etc., can only attack your Zerg forces face to face, melee to melee. They no longer have the range ability. So effectively, you take their range out of the game. That is such a big upgrade. That's such a big spell. Now, of course, your opponents can micro out of the cloud. But hey, that's where infestors are going to come in. You may be able to fungal growth and do some kind of fancy stuff with that. Now, you guys have kind of seen this guy flying around for a little bit. That's the Viper that's been flying around. Here's an action shot of the Vipers against some Colossus. Now, he's yanking the Colossi away. I'm not sure. This wasn't a very good demo video, I felt like, because it was yanking the Colossi away from Zerglings. Typically, what you want to do is kind of yank them into your army, I feel like, and away from their own army. And its range is actually really long. It's super long, so it's a really good spell. Now, here is an example of its second spell, which is the Swarm Cloud I was talking about, the Reverse Dark Swarm. Look at those Marines and bunkers. They are unable to shoot the Banelings until the Banelings are right in their face. And by then, sorry buddy, it's too late. And here's another look at the same clip. So yeah, I'm really excited about the Viper unit. I think it's a great addition to the Zerg forces. It may end up getting nerfed a little bit in the future. We'll just have to wait and see. Now, here is the other unit that I am really excited about. And unfortunately, Zerg's only got 2 new units. What is up with that, right? But Zerg's got only 2 new units and a couple of changes here or there, which I'll talk about at the end of this video. But this is the new unit called the Swarm Lord. And there's actually a post on TL right now about people saying they have a phobia about the way the Swarm Lord looks and the way how it has holes in the back and everything. That I guess it does look kind of scary. But anyways, here's a bit of some screenshot action of the Swarm Lord. And essentially what it is it's like a revamped Lurker / Brood Lord on the ground. And what it does is it's a unit that can only be built once you have an infestation pit. But once it's constructed, you burrow it underground. And once it's underground, that is when it's able to attack. But it's not really an attack. Essentially, when it's underground, it will be able to constantly and infinitely spawn two little swarmlings. I think they're called swarmlings or locusts. They're actually called locusts, excuse me. So every 15 seconds or so, it spawns 2 locusts if it is burrowed. And you can set a rally point on the Swarm Lord so that the locusts, as soon as they pop out, they go in the direction you tell them to go to. And they last for a pretty long time, and they have a lot of HP. The locusts have 120 HP, so they're not like broodlings. They're beefy little buggers, and they're really, really good. I went into a game where I built like 20 Swarm Lords, and I just burrowed them underground, and nothing could walk past them. They're damn good. They're kind of like the Lurker, kind of cooler in a way. I think in general they're very cool units. So you guys have seen this little rotating shot for a while now. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the Swarm Lord in action, if I can find that clip. And here it is. So here's a couple of Swarm Lords moving in. They're going to go ahead and burrow underground, and whoopsie daisy, the locusts are now popping out, and your mineral line is foobarred. So that's one shot of the Swarm Lord. Okay, so here is the second shot of the swarm hosts in play. You can basically burrow them outside the Terran natural and set the rally point for the locusts. As soon as they pop out, they will walk over to the tanks and bunkers. And look, they have a lot of HP. And essentially, you have this infinitely spawning unit that's constantly knocking on the front door of the Terran. And this actually allows Zergs now to have some ability to control the map. Originally, we could control the map based on speed. But now we have something that's hardy, that's sturdy, that can start to apply real pressure against Terrans and Protosses, and this forces a response, I feel, out of Terrans and Protosses. I think this is going to be a great addition for the Zerg army, and it's going to make battles very, very interesting to watch. It's totally going to change the landscape of the game. So that is the Swarm Lord, and I want to go ahead and show you guys one last clip I have here. This isn't a new unit or anything like that. This is just an old unit, the good old Ultralisk, but now it has the ability to burrow charge. It basically just stole the charge ability from the Zealot, but you know, now that an Ultralisk can charge at an opponent, it's going to be so much better than it was before, because think of how many times it got caught up in the back and it couldn't attack. Now it burrows and it pops up underneath your Marines, underneath your forces. It's going to be so much better for Ultralisks to have, and I believe that gets researched at the Hive technology level. And here's a couple more shots of the Ultralisk kind of popping underneath some Marines. That's a horrible way to die. There's also a couple of other changes as well, guys. The Baneling actually now has an ability to move underground. Believe it or not, a Baneling can now move underground. That is researched at the Hive level as well. And Hydralisks have a movement speed buff as well. So now you'll be able to move Hydralisks a little bit faster off of creep, which I'm very excited about. So that's pretty much all the Zerg changes I had to say. One thing that I think is just going to be probably nerfed right away is the burrowed movement of Banelings, because that's just going to be so hard to stop. I don't care if it's at a Hive level. That is just straight up imbalanced for Zerg. But the Hydralisk upgrade for speed, definitely well worth it. Anyways, that is my Zerg update video for Heart of the Swarm. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I think I went as in-depth as I possibly could on all the new units and all the strategies and tactics that you can now use with relation to the changes and new units. If you guys enjoyed these videos, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You guys can also follow me on Twitter at HDStarcraft and follow me on Facebook as well. And I think that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks a lot for following these videos and watching them, and stay tuned for more games coming out in the near future. See you guys.